Hello and welcome back to PharmaApex Tutorial. Today we are going to discuss part 2 of powders. Before we begin, let's see what we have covered in the last lecture and then we'll move on to the remaining part of this chapter. So till now we have covered the definition of powders, advantage and disadvantages of powders, classification of powder. In classification we have completed the half part. The half part we are going to cover in this video. So till now we have completed simple and compound powders and their official preparation. So let's begin to the next part. So before we start, please like the video and do subscribe to my channel. So first is classification of powder, in which we have completed the divided powder, in which we have covered simple powder and compound powder. Now we'll discuss the bulk powder, which include dusting powder, effervescent powder, dentifrices, insufflation, Dauche powders and snuff. So let's start. So what is bulk powder? So bulk powder refers to a form of substance that is in a powdered state and is typically handled and stored in a large quantities rather than being individually packed or divided into smaller doses. Okay, we have seen here the example as a ibuprofen powder. So what is bulk powder? Bulk powder is a substance that is in the powder form and is usually bought and stored in a big amount and not in a small packages. So let's see the example. Ibuprofen powder, that is, we purchased this powder in a large container and then measured out in a doses for prescription. As per the order of prescription, we measured out the dose and then we pack the ibuprofen powder. Next is dusting powder. So what is dusting powder? It is a powder used on a skin to relieve irritation or absorb moisture and to keep skin soft and comfortable. Dusting powder are used externally for long application and not intended for systemic action. So here some important things are that it is used, it absorbs the moistures and it relieves irritation and it used to keep the skin soft and comfortable. Next important is it is used externally for local application and not for the systemic action. So what are the characteristics of the dusting powders? So it is homogeneous in nature, non-irritable property. Next is it is free flowing, good spreadability, should not applied on a broken skin. It is good, it has good spreadability because as we are using it for an external purpose, so its spreadability should be good. Then the powder is proved as a good powder. So here I have given one example as a formula. This is zinc oxide 20 gram, salicylic acid 5 grams, starch 25 gram and talc 50 grams. So here you can take any example of your choice. I have just given one example for this. Okay. Next is effervescent powder. So what is effervescent powder? They are the pharmaceutical formulation designed to dissolve in water and other liquid, creating a carbonated solution. So what is carbonated solution? Carbonated solution is a liquid that contains dissolved carbon dioxide gas which create bubbles and make the liquid fizzy. This is commonly found in soft drinks or like soda, etc. Okay, they consist of an active pharmaceutical ingredient, that is API, combined with a mixture of acid and base component. Upon contact with water, these ingredients react to produce carbon dioxide gas. Okay, it is important. Effervescent powder are widely employed for oral drug delivery tailored to achieve diverse therapeutic outcomes. Okay, so how the effervescent powders are prepared? So there are two methods we can prepare effervescent powder. First is fusion method. So in this method, all the ingredients are placed in a porcelain dish and kept in water bath they release water, and this moisture supports to produce a hard mass. This mass is passed through 20 number sieve. Granules obtained are dried in 60 degrees Celsius in oven. Then the granules are collected and sieved again, leading to fine granules. So here some important things are: it is dried in a 60 degrees Celsius in oven. Then it is passed through 20 number of sieves. So these things are important. Keep into the mind. Next method is wet method. So what is wet method? Here the ingredients are wet with alcohol and follow the same procedure. So here the ingredients were dry in first preparation, that is fusion method, and in the second method the difference is the ingredients are wet with alcohol. The rest procedure will be same, that is they are dried in 60 degrees Celsius will be same, they are passed through 20 number of sieve will be same. Okay, and next they will be collected and sieved again, leading to fine granules. All the procedure will be same, the only difference is this is wet and this is dry. So example of effervescent powder we see in our daily lives, that is ENO. So the formula of ENO is, so for 100 grams, this is for 100 grams, sodium bicarbonate 35 grams, citric acid 25 grams, tartaric acid 15 grams, anhydrous sodium carbonates 25 grams. This is the basic formula for ENO, and this is the picture of ENO. I hope everyone have seen this before, right? Okay, so let's move ahead. Next is dentifrices. So dentifrices are the substance used to clean teeth, commonly referred to as toothpaste, which help to maintain the oral hygiene, right? So let's see example. Example as in Colgate toothpaste. We all use it in our daily lives. So next is insufflation powders. Insufflation powders are a class of powders meant for application to the body cavities. For example, body cavities like ear, nose, vagina, etc. Right? The powder has to be extremely fine and must find an entry to the cavity deep enough to bring about its action at the site. It is delivered to the affected part in the stream with the help of device called as insufflator, which blows the powder to the site. This point is important because you can also get this question in your competitive exams or etc., because this is important. So which device is used to blow the powder inside? That is insufflator is used. Okay. So next is Dauche powders. So Dauche powder is a powdered drug that is used for cleaning solutions of an intimate body parts for hygiene. So these powder are used for the hygiene purpose. Dauche powders are sometimes called as douches. These are the powders which are prepared for cleaning vaginal problems. These powders are synthesized from volatile substances and the pH lies in the parameter of 3.5 to 5. So what is volatile substances? These are the substances or compounds that radially vaporize a low temperature. Due to their low boiling point, these substances can easily change from a liquid or solid state to a gas. Okay, so we can see the example here, miconazole douche powder. Okay, so next part is snuffs. Snuffs powder, commonly known as snuff, is a finely grounded or powdered tobacco powder product that is typically sniffed into the nasal cavity. Snuff powder is primarily made from dried and finely grounded tobacco leaves. It may also contain flavorings, methanol or other additives to enhance its aroma and flavor. Next is efflorescent powder. So efflorescent powder are crystallized substances that contains water of hydration and crystallization, such as alums, atropine sulfate, citric acid, caffeine and codeine. In low humidity environments, these powders release their water content upon manipulation or exposure to manipulation, resulting in a tendency to become pasty, sticky or potentially liquefy. So next is hygroscopic powder. So the term hygroscopic means that these substances can absorb or adsorb water from their surroundings, right? Those substances that absorb or adsorb water from the surroundings are known as hygroscopic substances, right? So the water molecule in hygroscopic substances are absorbed into crystal structure when water vapor is absorbed. As a consequence, the size of the substance increases. The change in the hygroscopic property can be seen in color, boiling point, viscosity and others due to hygroscopic nature. For example, we can see here is salt. Okay. Now we'll see what is eutectic mixture. So eutectic mixture is defined as a mixture of two or more components which usually do not interact to form a new chemical compound, but which at certain ratio inhibit the crystallization process of one another, resulting in a system having a low melting point that either for the of the component. Okay. Eutectic mixture can be formed between the API, that is active pharmaceutical ingredient, or between the API or excipient, or between the excipient, thereby providing a vast scope of its application in pharmaceutical industry, right? So eutectic mixture formation is usually governed by the following factors. Okay, so we'll see now what are the factors that govern the eutectic mixture. So the first is the component must be miscible in liquid state and mostly immiscible in solid state. Okay, so what it's saying, that the component must be miscible in the liquid state and it should be immiscible in the solid state. So intimate contact between eutectic forming material is necessary for contact induced melting point depression. Okay. Next is the component should have chemical groups that can interact to form physical bonds such as intermolecular hydrogen bonding, etc. This is just the example. Next is D. The molecule which are in the accordance to modified van der Waals equation can form aquatic mixtures. Okay. Now we'll see the last part of this chapter, that is geometric dilution. So what is geometric dilution? It is a technique for thoroughly mixing a small amount of powder with a large amount of ointment or other powders. Okay, so what is it? It is basically it is a technique which mixes a small amount of powders with a large amount of ointments or any other powder. It is frequently used in labs and pharmacies to ensure an even distribution of medication in a component, okay, compounds. So it ensures the equal distribution of the material. Next, what are the methods of geometric dilution? So there are basically four methods of geometric dilution. We'll see one by one. First method is two powders, that is also known as standard. This method involves using a mortar and pestle to progressively combine two powders on unequal quantities. Okay, so here we'll use mortar and pestle to combine two powders of unequal quantities. The quantities should be same here. The smaller powder is placed in a pestle and the equal amount of large amount powder is added. Okay, this is then ground together thoroughly using the mortar. Okay, more of the larger powder is then added in equal amount and then grinding is repeated until all the large powders has been incorporated. Okay, next method is powder in ointment. So here this method is similar to the two powder method, but it is used to incorporate a powder into an ointment. Okay, As the name powder in ointment, here the powder first is incorporated into an ointment. Okay, an equal amount of ointment is mixed with the powder in the mortar, and then more ointment is gradually added in equal amount until all the ointment has been incorporated properly, right? Next is the liquid alicate method. So here, this is the technique used to accurately dispense powder substance. It involves mixing a known quantity of powder with the liquid in which the powder is insoluble, okay, to create a suspension. So what is suspension? Right here, will will mix the powder with an insoluble in nature. Okay, this mixture is then homogenized to ensure even distribution. A measured volume, that is alicate. So what is alicate? It is a measured volume of the suspension is withdrawn, and then the liquid is removed by the evaporation or filtration method, leaving behind a precise amount of powder. Okay, so next method is radar geometric dilution. This involves dividing a bulk quantity into smaller geometric equal sections to ensure even distribution. Precise samples are taken from these sections, ensuring accurate dosing. Okay, this method is used in pharmaceuticals, food labs for consistent and precise powder distribution. So here we are done with second part of powders, and we have completed the powders chapter. In the next video we will start the next part, next chapter of pharmaceutics 1. If you have not watched the previous lecture, do watch it. I have given all the links of previous lecture in the description box. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for the more content.